It keeps refusing to freeze these days, doesn't it? I've not changed a single setting. There you go, but I'm not complaining. It'll lull us into a false sense of security, won't it? It will just it won't freeze for ages and it'll start doing it again, because that's what technology does. Anyway, cheers everyone. It's Friday again. It's rolled around, and a little bit of a special one tonight. Just over there, let's put it in the shot. There's a box containing a guitar, and we're going to be getting the box off the guitar, or the guitar out of the box, during the course of the evening's festivities. But first of all, let's move to important matters. Once again, Heineken. There's the product shot. I have got rather a taste for that Heineken. Anything else? I mean, I usually say that all lager sort of taste the same, but I am really rather enjoying the Heineken these days, it has to be said. Perhaps a little bit too much, at least according to me doctor anyway. I was there this week for the usual telling off, blood pressure, cholesterol, all that kind of usual sorts of stuff. But, a little bit of beer will put that fire out, I'm sure. Anyway, let's see who was first in. John Mack is saying new chair. It's been here ages, mate. This one, it's been about a month now. Excuse me. Let's see who was first in. I see Anton was first in, which means I've got a little bit of housekeeping to do. Excuse me just a second while I do this. Yes. For reasons that will become apparent when he posts the link. Oh, it's not there. For some reason on YouTube, the early part of the chat doesn't. Does it work if I do that? Yeah, this chat thing. Top chat or live chat. All messages are visible. Oh, hang on. Yeah, where's that gone? Excuse me here. I am having some technical difficulties. Let's sort this out. Anton, where have you gone, mate? Where have you gone? There he is. Right, so there we go. Add as moderator. There we go. Yes, for reasons that will become apparent when Anton posts, he asked me to make him a moderator, so there you go. If you have a YouTube channel and you want to be able to post the link to it in the live chat, then just let me know and I'll make you the moderator. If I miss you kind of let me know in the chat, then ping me an email and I'll get it done. So anyway, we've got Anton first in. We're off to a bit of a stumbling start this week. Then Peter Nicholson, Dave Fiendish, Terry Day, Theme Tunes, Malcolm Thompson, Frank Bolam, Steve Hale, Balder64, Rent to Kill is in. So is Ben Ormark, Malcolm Spillett, who's off to the doctors, but hopefully he'll be back soon. Then we got Rubbish Guitar Bloke, Johnny Random, Jed Ellis is in. So is Sean House, Paul Trainer, and Tom Clark. Then we have David James, Michael Dodds. Michael Dodds was at Redcar Races on Wednesday, 1-0. Well, that's the cost of your day out, mate. Next time I go to the races, which I think is going to be Boxing Day, I'm going to just take a little bit more care and study the form beforehand. I'll still probably win nothing, but, at least it makes you feel like you're a bit more well-informed. Then we've got Steve Entwistle, Ian Clark, Peter Collins, Dr. Gomez 1, and PFY Guitars. Then we've got Cushman NYC and Grandpa Joe. What's he saying there? Hurricane Helene is causing major devastating floods in South US. Waiting for heavy rain to hit New York in a few days. Hope you're all well today. Yes, our thoughts go out to anyone who is in the path of that particular storm. I saw Jim from Audiomo was battening down the hatches just the other day. When was it? Yesterday, because they were expecting to get hit by it. we've had ridiculous, for our standards, winds here the last couple of days, 50, 60 mile an hour gusts. And yesterday it just did not stop raining all day. It was just like coming down like stair rods. Which made for an interesting dog walk. Then we've got, who else we got? We've got Amadeus, we've got Relaxing Meditation, we've got Vincent Brennan, we've got Jamal123, Stephen Hedges, Stuart Young, and Peter S. There's Calby and the Rocco Cat and Johnny D. Then there's Farjon, and we got Chip Young. Have I said you already? I usually at least one duplicate every week. Bear with me. There's Dave Snack Stevens. Where are we? Sorry, the chat moved there. Where's it? Anyway, yes, Dave Snack Stevens. The wife has bought me a bass guitar and wants to go to a guitar shop tomorrow. Oh, that's going to sound, that's just fantastic, isn't it? You know, when you've got permission. You know, when you don't have to kind of try and sneak it in, when you get the permission. Well, let's go to a guitar shop. Oh, yes, please. You know, then we've got Nathan and Grumpy Horse and Robert Forsyth, and who else we got? Peter Goddard, 1960, and Franzek, and who we got there? Peter Hall, who's off to Bax tomorrow to buy a Telecaster shirt. Faisley, I can recommend the Outlaw Coyote Plus, mate. You know, it's a fantastic Telecaster. Feels like a real solid, balanced instrument, you know. Then we got Cal Texper, Blue Sofa Songs, and we got Paul, we got Peter Collins, if I haven't mentioned you already. There's Colin Falcon, local lad, Mark Grant, the Essex Cat, and we got Sometimes Dim Never Thin, Eric Luttinger, Chris Otwell, Peter Hall, Triple Distilled, and Michael Beliveau coming up. On the back of that, we've got John Channing, we've got Glenn Bailey at Like Black Guitars. I like black guitars. Nice to see you, mate. Let's have a look who else we got. We've got Searching for Tone. If you haven't checked out his channel yet, go and give it a look. And stick your link in the description in the chat there. Searching for Tone. We've got Tommy's One. We've got Ollie M and Maria Muggs Davis. David Cairns is in, so is Ravensmead, and who else we got? We got John Mack, who's commenting about my chair earlier, and let's have a look. Steve Cassidy is in. Don't forget Steve's first of 3 videos this weekend. He has been a busy boy, coming up straight after this live stream, 6 p.m. UK time. Go and check that out. I'll probably be watching it later because I've got to go out and forage for curry. We're having a takeout curry tonight from fantastic Bengal Spice. Then there's Johnny, who joined in from New York City today. Then we got Shane Allen. We got Ian Checkley. We've got anyone else? Sargi is in, and Mott the Hoople 2010 is in, and Steve Mack, and Triple X Paps, George Wall, and Dave Lewis. I think that's pretty much everyone. Bill Mumbo and John ZD351. Or is it ZD351 or ZD351 in Australia? I'm not quite sure of the American pronunciation. Well, I'll tell you a little thing about that. I was reading about this fantastic three-piece band from Texas who, I was reading about them. Who's this? Just catch up with that later. I was reading about this fantastic 3-piece band from Texas back in the 80s when I was at college, and I think it was in Melody Maker or Kerrang or one of the music publications I used to read, and I was convinced there was this band called ZZ Top. You know, I didn't have the proper pronunciation. Oh, hang on, I see I've got a couple of super chats there. There's Peter Williamson. Thank you so much, mate. That's very generous of you. Much appreciated, mate. I will make sure it gets spent on curry later. And the lamb is tell your doctor that in the interest of saving lives, you've been practicing the Heineken manoeuvre. Indeed, that's the one. And it might be. Is there a similar one? Is there a famous grouse manoeuvre? Because I'll probably be practicing that before I go to kind of a rather hazy bed later. We got Pete 77 and 60s Man, and who else have we got? I think that's pretty much everyone. Apologies if I've missed you off the list, but it was starting to kind of drag on a little bit, and I do like to try and get everybody in, but to try and not make a meal of it. Don't always make a good job of that. But thank you to Peter Williamson, and thank you to the Lamb for the super chats there. As our dear departed friend Mike from China Guitar Skeptic, he always used to say, never courted, always appreciated, and that is, exactly how I feel. So let me just have a wee tug on me vape, and then I'll tell you what's coming up on the channel this week, and then we're going to get that guitar out of the box. So, on Sunday, we have a sort of tone test, really, between the Legato wireless dongle thingies, these things here, that you saw me do a follow-up video on yesterday. We've got a bit of like a tone test between using those and using a cable. I sort of did that in the initial video, but the difference is that this time it's in a mix. Can you hear any difference between the guitar tone or between cable and wireless in a mix? Then on Monday, continuing with the fortnightly series of videos on how to play a lead guitar. In the first one of this, which has just nearly 2 weeks ago, we looked at the basic pentatonic scale and how it kind of relates to a major or a minor key, and how to play it, of course, and everything. Well, we're taking a little bit of a look at how you can turn it from something that sounds like playing a scale to something that sounds like playing a solo on Monday. That is often the stumbling block for many people. It certainly was for me when I first started playing lead guitar. I've learned the scale, and it just sounds, when I play it over I didn't have backing tracks back then. And when I play it along with a record, it just sounds like I'm going up and down the scale. How do I make it sound like a solo? Well, you're going to find out on Monday. Then on Tuesday, a top 5 list, and it's a very personal one to me, this. It's basically the 5 things that I look for in a guitarist. If I'm going to listen to a particular guitarist's music, then there's basically, handily enough for a top 5 Tuesday list, there are 5 things that I look for, in terms of what attributes they have. When it comes to the way they play. I don't necessarily mean how, do they do alternate picking, or do they do this particular technique or that technique, but no, just an overview. 5 things that really kind of make me go, oh, yes, I'm going to listen to more of that person whenever I hear them for the first time. Then on Wednesday, the Rhythm Wednesday, this phone is just going mad. I'm just going to put it on silent. There we go. On Wednesday, the Rhythm Wednesday series of videos is no longer. I've covered pretty much everything from power chords to funk to basic strumming techniques to using triads and all manner of stuff. I've basically I think I've milked rhythm guitar for as much as I possibly can since that series started. There's like over 6 months worth of collectively, because there was a break in between. But there's, I think, somewhere like 30 videos or something in that series. And you know, I've run out of ideas for Rhythm Guitar Wednesday, so we're starting a new series on Wednesday. Oh, I say I've got another super chat. Anton has ordered a Harley Benton SC552, then got tempted by a second-hand one too. Any tips on smuggling them into the house without the wife noticing? Well, all I usually do is say, yeah, well, I'm just borrowing this one to do a review with. So, you know, you could try that. Yeah, but anyway, the Wednesday video is I'm starting a series of videos on songwriting. It's going to be tuition-based content, and there's going to be some music theory involved. So I'm expecting these videos to get absolutely pathetic numbers of views because, you know, that's just the way of things. I would love to know the secret of some of these tuition channels that get loads and loads of views. Whenever I put tuition content up, I sort of do it as a bit of a calling card for me day job, really, which is doing guitar lessons. You know, so, but you know, it's just you see music theory for guitar or what's he called? Oh God, Signals Music Studio. You see guys like that putting tuition content up and getting astronomical views. But with me, it just, you know, people like the other stuff that I do. I'm not complaining. I just curious about that. Anyway, Wednesday, first in a series of videos about songwriting. Then on Thursday, another guitar is off to the good folks at the Agrajag Guitar Workshop to get a little bit of their fairy dust sprinkled on it. We're getting, basically it's me PRS. It's off for some fancy Jescar stainless steel frets. That's what's coming up on Thursday. And then after Thursday, we are back on the beer. Which kind of implies that I won't be having a beer between now and Thursday, which is technically not true. Anyway, let's get the guitar out of the box. Let's point the camera around so you can get a little bit better view of what I'm doing. I'll just kind of rotate it this way a little. He said, there we go. There we go. We can see what's happening now. You probably already know roughly what's in here because I put a thing up on the community tab about, you know, what guitar was incoming. And I'm also going to tell you why I bought this particular guitar. It's been sat here since Tuesday, actually. That's when it arrived. And, you know, a couple of times I've almost cracked and got it out the box, but searching for tone. Thank you so much, mate. Let's give you a little bit of screen time there. You're incapable of making any video that is pathetic. Well, thank you very much, mate. It's just sometimes the number of views that they get are a little bit on that side. Anyway, I'm gonna have to stand up for this. Yes. This is why I always speed it up in the pre-recorded videos. Oh dear me, it doesn't want to come out. Let's just do it this way. Put that over there. That's the hard work done. Great. Let's get rid of the bubble wrap. Get rid of this. Right, well, you can probably tell it's red. And here we go. This is I should do that gag now that Steve Cassidy always does, like getting the bag of silica gel and no. So there's the headstock, so you've got a fairly good idea. As I say, most of you probably saw the community post that I put up about the guitar that was incoming. But here we go. It is a Squier classic vibe 50s Strat. Now, last week on the live stream, I might have said, I've knocked the mouse on this machine, I just need to put it back to sleep. I might have said on the live stream last week that there wasn't a Strat-shaped hole in my life, and I wasn't really that bothered about owning a Strat. That hasn't changed, really. Let's turn this back around. That hasn't changed really at all. This is a guitar I bought with my head, not my heart. Mind, it does look good in the fleshlight, doesn't it? Every now and again, I need to do a video where I'm saying, so how much like a Strat does this guitar actually sound? When I'm doing some sort of comparison video. Most recently, I did a couple of videos where I was comparing a PRS to a Strat. I don't have a Strat to compare it with, so I've been borrowing my good friend Colin Falcon's Squier Strat for that for those purposes, and I just thought, just as a benchmark guitar, you should really have one. Just have it in, and it's there. And what I was looking for was the cheapest credible Strat I could find. And what I mean by credible is you can buy a Harley Benton that will make exactly the same noises as this for half the price or less. But then it's not a Strat. And somebody will always point out in the comment section, yeah, but you're not really comparing it to a real Strat, are you? So this is, as I say, a Squier classic vibe Strat. It says Stratocaster on it. And on the back, designed and backed by Fender, crafted in Indonesia. So then you can kind of start the whole kind of thing of, well, which place in Indonesia? Are these made in the Court factory? Wouldn't surprise me if they are. So yes, it's just going to be a benchmark guitar, and if I had to own a Strat, it had to be a 50s one, and it had to be either an Eric Clapton Blackie lookalike, or it had to be a Hank Marvin lookalike, and I went with the Hank Marvin option. And there's going to be, I've already done the backing track for it, a Hank Marvin themed video that I've got planned for a few weeks' time. We'll see. And of course, there'll be like first impressions and a proper review video and everything for it. But there we go. That is it. It's a nice lightweight thing. And just looking at straight out of the box with my trusty action ruler at the 12th fret, I'm going to call it 1.5 millimeters on the bass string. So it's not a super duper slinky low action, but it's not high either. It's not in tune. But it's no doubt I'll have to fettle the trem if I'm going to do a Hank Marvin themed video. I've got some nut lube kind of stuff knocking around here somewhere, and I've heard reports that the springs on this bridge here are really stiff, so I'm going to have to give that a little bit of a fettling. Maybe I think it's 3 springs. Maybe just take it down to 2 and rebalance it and everything. So there's a fair bit of work to go into this before I can do it. But just the neck, I mean, it's a high gloss neck. It's. Am I going to bother sanding that down and kind of giving it a satin finish? Probably not, because, as I say, I don't think this is ever going to be my primary main guitar. The neck, the fretboard edges seem a little bit rolled, though. I mean, not rolled as much as with like a Sire S7 or something like that, but they lack the sort of the corner that's often there. It's definitely more sort of chamfered into a curve. So there we go. Full review and shakedown coming soon of the first Squier Classic Vibe Strat I've ever owned. And I think I think I might be wrong. I will confirm this at a later time. But I think probably the first maple net Strat I've ever owned, or maple fretboard Strat I've ever owned. So there you go. Anyway, chaps, my glass is empty, and that will not do. Let's just everyone get ready to type flake in the comments. Chip Young, what? No CBS headstock? No. I'm sorry, but the CBS headstock is it's not my cup of tea. I find it aesthetically displeasing, which is another way of saying that, frankly, it fell from the top of the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down. Don't like the CBS headstock. Marie Muggs Davis is in pristine condition, very shiny, lovely looking guitar. Yeah, it's, I mean, I think, I can't remember. I know I got a deal on it, but when I hit the kind of purchase button there may have been some of this involved. I think it was a B stock. And I know it was cheaper than recommended retail price. So let's have a look, see what I've missed in the chat while I've been blethering away. Let's have a look. John, is it ZD or ZD? I haven't seen it if you replied, mate. Sorry, I missed it because I've been too busy bloody talking. Lots of guitars at my place. More often than not, it's my 50s classic vibe Strat that I reach for. Steve Cassidy Guitar is asking, does the glossy fretboard bother you? Not really, mate. No, because I think one of the reasons why the fretboard doesn't really bother me in terms of whether it's glossy or matte or whether it's rosewood or maple or whatever is because I don't really feel like I'm having any contact with the fretboard when I'm playing. Under my finger, I can feel the string and I can feel the frets. I don't really get any sort of sensation of what the timbre is that is underneath the strings and the frets. So that's not really an issue for me. But it's, I got to tell you, maybe it's just the new guitar novelty, I suppose. That's always going to be a thing. But in the flesh, it is nicer looking than it was in the pictures. And maybe that's just the sort of Hank Marvin nostalgia thing coming out for me. Anyway, Michael Purcell is saying, put on gold hardware, and there you are. Yeah, that's a little bit it's getting Liberace there, isn't it? Calby and the Rocco Cat is saying Apache. I've already done a full version of Apache, mate. It's up on my Patreon. I didn't put it up on YouTube. I did it as one of the Patreon exclusives. I think it was, how long ago did I have that Sire rather, S7? So that's got to be 2021 or thereabouts. So like 3 years ago. But it was one of the first things I did with that. I did a full run through of Apache, backing track and everything. So if you go and dig through my old Patreon posts from about 3 years ago, you'll find it up there. The Lamb is saying they are indeed made in the Court factory. It's a pretty safe bet. For anything that has made in Indonesia on it, that it's a better than evens bet that it comes out the Court factory. Like a lot of the Harley Benton Les Paul style guitars, the SC 550 and so on, like that, they're all made in Indonesia, and I have a sneaking suspicion that they come out of that Court factory as well, just because they just feel right for that. Once you've played a few guitars, you start to kind of recognise the way that certain factories make their guitars feel. Steve Cassidy is saying these things come in cycles. It might be your Strat time again. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I've already ordered at least one mod to do to this guitar. I'm going to be replacing the silly kind of washer string tree here with some roller ones that I paid 4 whole English pounds for on Amazon yesterday, and they turned up. They're over there, so I'll be whopping that on before I do any kind of tremolo kind of stuff. As I say, a little bit of work to do on it, and we shall see how it comes out. I am much more into the sort of Telecaster and humbucker kind of tones these days. That's what kind of floats me boat. The thing with playing Strats is I always end up trying to kind of out Knopfler. Just that I always start kind of launching into ham-fisted versions of Sultans of Swing or, Tunnel of Love or something. And, anyway, there it is. Anyway, there's the new guitar. Stephen Hedges saying, good choice of Strat. What you're saying there, epic Swedish fika, is that? You do have to try the Gilmore mod to get the telly sound of neck and bridge. It's a switch to keep the neck pickup on. You would love it. Yes, I've already done that, mate. If you look just over my shoulder there on the back wall, you will see a Telecaster with a tortoiseshell pick guard. That's a Nashville Telecaster, which has basically a Strat-style 5-way pickup selector. And I did the Gilmore mod on that, and that's a fantastic guitar. I don't play it as often as I used to. But every time I pick it up, I think I should play this more often. But it's like, there's so many other guitars in here. I have an embarrassment of riches. Michael Belvo saying, that's awful, John. What's awful, mate? Do enlighten me. Michael Purcell is saying, is it because the Strat reminds you of your gig days? No, not really. Not really. I played a Sonic Blue Fender Japan 60s reissue Strat, which, those were the days. A Fender Japan Strat was the cheap option in those days. I had it loaded with EMG single coil pickups. Playing into what did I play? I think the first amp I had that with was I want to say a Marshall Valve State 8080. Then I moved up to a Marshall JCM 900 combo, and then I moved up to the Marshall 30th anniversary combo. And it was just my main gigging guitar, and I have fond memories of it. But then I just I got bored with the in-between quacky sounds. I was never happy with the bridge pickup on a Strat, and I just thought what would it be? Sometime in the early part of this century. I want to say 2004 or thereabouts. I just thought, I'm going to get a Telecaster. Just woke up one morning and thought, I want a Telecaster. And as soon as I played a Telecaster, it was like, oh, yes, this is it. It had all of the kind of Fenderiness about it that I loved, but without any of the... I always say the thing about the Strat is that, we've got to go to viewers' guitars in a sec. I always say the thing that the Strat has a 5-way position switch, and I like maybe two positions on that, but I love all 3 on a Telecaster. Anyway, let me just navigate to the relevant folder, and we're going to take a look at some pictures of guitars that have been sent in, or what has been sent in this week by you lot, my wonderful viewers. So let's go to here, and we'll go share screen, and then we go to this. And we hit this. This is a lovely looking Telecaster that was sent in by Austin Barrett, and this is a night Telecaster, and I believe this is the one that was made by a guy who was entirely one-handed. I don't mean he was on his own in the workshop. I mean he literally had a single hand. So that's an inspirational thing. If you know, with missing one of your hands, if you can build something of that nature, then that is absolutely gorgeous and inspiring, I think. Anyway, we have some more of Dave Phillips's guitar collection. The first guitar, photo on the left, is his attempt at a Clapton Blackie tribute, but differs in having a modern 3-ply pickguard. The third photo, the one on the right, is his attempt at a Gilmore Black Strat, differing in pickups and having abalone inlays. And the ash-bodied Strat in the middle photo is made from a baseball bat ash rather than swamp ash and is quite heavy. I imagine it is. The bridge pickup is not a humbucker, but two differently voiced single coil pickups mounted back to back wide in series, also in parallel. Use the toggle switch in combination with a 5-way to get 21 possible tones, including humbucking. Yeah, versatile, but that amount of options on a guitar would have me absolutely paralyzed with option anxiety. But 3 lovely looking parts casters there, mate. Nice one. Then another one from Dave Phillips, 3 more from Dave Phillips's collection. On the left, we have a Polonia body, which is very light in weight. The guitar features Vanson Alnico 2 humbuckers at the neck and the bridge with an Artec P90 in the middle. Normal 5-way switching. The second guitar in the middle is HSS configuration using Vanson Alnico 2 neck pickup in the bridge position. At the time of purchase, Vanson had run out of stock of Alnico 2 bridge humbuckers, so chose to use a neck, knowing in any case that its output was more in balance with single coils. I positioned the pickup backwards, as some will say intentionally, so that pole spacing more closely corresponds to the guitar's string spacing. The third guitar on the right is a normal Telly single coil pickups, and features 2 normal single coil pickups and an old-timer Fat Boy in the bridge. Unlike most P90s, old-timer Fat Boys use Alnico 2 magnets instead of Alnico 5 and are sold by their maker on eBay. Dave, I just want to say thank you for all of the information that you include with your guitar picks, mate. That is above and beyond the call of duty. Then we have Derek Stoppin's K classical guitar. I think because I made a comment on a live stream, was it last week or thereabouts? Maybe the week before, about my first ever guitar being a K acoustic student folk guitar, and that inspired him to send me this picture of this. And yes, we've all played that guitar, haven't we, at some point? Not that particular one, but we played one of those. It looks remarkably like the guitars that were hanging on the wall in the school music room where I used to hang out when I was a kid. Anyway, what we got here, this is Edwin Toonan's, or some of Edwin Toonan's guitars. We've got a Harley Benton Fusion there in a lovely kind of spangly silver finish. And we've got the Seymour Duncan P-Rails on that, which are, those kind of, it's a humbucker, it's a P90, it's a single coil, all in one pickup. Then the guitar that every time I've seen Edwin playing, he's always playing this one, the PRS Silver Sky. And then the one that I really, really, really covet, this Yamaha SG2000, which is that a P90? That's a P-rails in the neck position on that as well, isn't it? And then he also scored a really good deal on this Bogner amplifier recently. I can't remember what he paid for it, but it was ridiculously cheap. So congratulations, Edwin. Lovely looking, just a little setup there. That would look good on a stage, wouldn't it? If you went to see a band, and you were just looking at the gear on stage and you saw that, you'd pretty much know you were in for an entertaining evening. Then this is Theme Tunes Les Paul Studio 60s Tribute. What more can I say? Lovely looking P90s on a gold top. It's just you know. I often say about some guitars, you know, you picture a particular guitar and, you know, a certain image comes to mind. Well, a P90 Les Paul is very much that image in my mind. Then we've got another from David Phillips, but this time his mate's collection of guitars called Richard. One of Richard's oddball parts casters. Don't know what else to call it. It's another example of Richard looking into the abyss of his parts bin and thinking, what shall I do with all these leftover odds and ends? And oddly enough, it ended up rather well. It does really, doesn't it? You know, something about humbucker single coil and lipstick pickup in the middle. Yeah, kind of got that sort of almost like a factory modded look to it, hasn't it? Especially with the black knobs. Something of almost a Charvel kind of look about that to my mind. Then another one of the same chap's guitars, homemade T-type. I think this is recent home build, started with leftover neck. As usual, Richard raided his parts bin and went shopping for everything else. You got to love a thin line telly, haven't you? The only thing I don't quite get about thin line tellies and some of the Telecaster Deluxes is, you know, who made the decision for the pickguard not to go? I don't know if you can see my mouse pointer, but who made the decision for the pickguard to, you know, not kind of follow the contour of the body on that lower cutaway there? It just always looks like it should, and it's like it tried and then kind of gave up. Then a guitar I know very, very well, the Faisley Outlaw Coyote Plus. This one belongs to Stephen Hedger, as does, I think, this next pair of guitars. Stephen's pair of single cuts, a Tokai Love Rock and a Bernie something or other, you know, Les Paul copy. And I'm getting deja vu. I think I might have forgot to delete this one from the inbox folder. But if I've showed you this one last week, I do apologise. It's still a lovely looking pair of guitars, and that is this week's viewers' guitars, or as you smutty-minded gentlemen keep referring to it, the Reader's Wives section. For this week. Anyway, what have I missed in the chat? A lot of people gassing for some of the guitars. I think Steve Cassidy, are you referring to that that HSS parts caster there with the lipstick tube, lipstick pickup in the middle, mate? Where are we? Yes, lots of love for the Yamaha. It is a lovely looking guitar, isn't it? That's one on my to-do list, the Yamaha SG 2000. You know, have I ever owned one? I think this is the thing with me. You know, I would kind of change my guitars more often than I would change my socks sometimes when I was back in my younger days. Sometimes I would own a guitar and I'd have it for like 2 or 3 days and then part exit on and trade it on. So I don't think I've ever owned an SG 2000, but I might be wrong. Certainly getting gas for one at the moment. Let's have a look. Anything else that I've missed? Oh, we've got Malcolm Spillett back. Nice to see you back, mate. Hope all went well at the Quacks. And Dave Lewis is saying, I've still got both my Sire Larry Carlton Strats. Yeah, that is one of the reasons why I've sort of held off from getting another Strat. You know, I've got this one, but as I say, explained earlier why that's why that's here. It's a benchmark guitar. It's just going to be used as a guitar to compare other guitars against. But when I bought the Sire Larry Carlton S7, it was just beautiful. I mean, that is a real custom shop feeling instrument. Just the feel of the neck on those guitars is utterly sublime. And it just dawned on me that, you know, this is probably the best Strat style guitar I've ever owned, and yet I never seem to pick it up. What does that say about my relationship with Strats? and that became the sort of company policy, if you like. That was sort of the party line on how I felt about Stratocaster style guitars, which is why I've sort of held off from getting another one until now. But as I say, this is just going to be. I'll have me fun with it. I'll kind of play it a bit until the shiny new toy novelty factor wears off, and then it'll just kind of probably sit on a stand until it's time to do some kind of video which requires a Strat, basically. Been listening to Gary Moore's Back on the Streets album for the first time in absolute yonks. By Jove, missus, there's some stellar playing on that. Flight of the Snow Moose is outrageous. Yeah, that's a fantastic album. If it really showcases Gary's diversity as a player as well, because you've got Flight of the Snow Moose, and what's that other kind of fusiony one? What Would You Rather Be, Wasp? That's another one. Kind of all sort of coming off his time with Colosseum 2, into that whole kind of fusiony sort of scene that he was doing back then. And then you've got Fanatical Fascists, which is just like punk. That's I say I've got another super chat there. Let's have a look. Mr. Cassidy, you are a gentleman, sir. Thank you. That's very, very generous of you. Thanks so much, mate. It's where was I going? Yeah, Gary Moore, Back on the Streets. So you've got like fusion, you've got punk, you've got ballads, you've got like Parisian Walkways is off that album. There's another ballad on there. I forget the title of it. And then you've got like the title track, Back on the Streets. It's just like he's just really kind of saying, this is me, and it's almost like a business card for Gary, isn't it? Or was for Gary, that album, because he just had he left Thin Lizzy then, or was Back on the Streets a side project? I can't remember. You got the original version of Don't Believe a Word, or the original arrangement of Don't Believe a Word on that album as well, haven't you? The slow blues version. So it's almost like Gary was kind of thinking, well, if this solo thing doesn't go according to plan, I've got this album which is sort of like a calling card. Anyone interested? This is what I can do. It's a great, great album. Chip Young, what are you saying there, mate? Completely agree with you about the Telecaster Deluxe pickguard. I'm slowly building a Telecaster Deluxe hybrid, and the pickguard will go around the low horn. Yeah, it always just looks a bit weird to me, the way it just kind of starts going round the corner, and then just I can't be bothered, and then never quite makes it. Let's have a little bit of a look. What have I been missing? What have I been blethering? Blue Sofa Songs. Anyone remember of Dave Lister of Red Dwarf? Well, what a guitarist. Yes, I think you're being ironic there. I'll tell you a little story I know about Craig Charles, the guy who played Dave Lister. Somehow I stumbled across an interview with a guy who's an actor in a soap we have in the UK called Coronation Street. And Craig Charles had a brief period in Coronation Street as well after Red Dwarf. And he was sat in this interview, this I can't remember the guy's name, but he's one of the actors. Anyway, Craig was telling him that he'd been sat in a pub one day just reading the paper, and a bloke comes over and says, "You're Craig Charles, aren't you?" I thought, here we go, autograph, selfie, whatever. And this guy says, "Look, I don't want an autograph." He says, "But I'm over there with me mates. Do us a favour. When you leave, just kind of shout over to us, 'Hey, Dave, see you later.'" And my mates will be really impressed. And so he said, "Yeah, no problem. And anyway, when he left, he gets up and kind of folds his paper up, finishes his pint, and he goes, "Hey, Dave." And this bloke goes, "Oh, piss off, Craig, I'm busy." Which I just think is absolutely, it's the sort of thing I wish I would have thought of that. Stuart Young has, I have a smoke me a kipper, I'll be back for breakfast t-shirt, one of my favourites. Yes, I used to love Red Dwarf. Funnily enough, I didn't like the reboot of it that they did. That was never, when a bit like an album that you want to love but can't quite make it. But the old ones I remember watching back in the 90s, absolutely fantastic. Belly laugh funny. Absolutely just uproariously funny. Up there with Father Ted, of which I shall probably be watching an episode or two of later. Now, here's the question. Can I finish my final beer in the 9 minutes we have left of the live stream? I wouldn't bet money against it if I were you, because anyone familiar with the comedic genius of Mickey Flanagan will know that story that he tells where he gets the flavour, the dreaded flavour, and it's starting to descend on me. So cheers, everyone. Down with this sort of thing, says the Lamb. Yes, that's probably the episode I'm going to watch. For anyone who isn't an aficionado of Father Ted, I urge you, go onto YouTube and find some clips, probably find some episodes. If it's probably on BritBox or Prime or one of the streaming services, it's got to be out there somewhere. Go and watch Father Ted. It is just one of the funniest sitcoms from the 90s. They only made 3 series because, well, the guy who played Father Ted, I think he died 24 hours after filming the final episode, Dermot Morgan. I know it was like pretty soon after. Excuse me. Tragic kind of circumstances, but what a legacy. Probably my favourite episode has to be the Christmas special. They did a Christmas special one year, and there's a fantastic scene where a bunch of Catholic priests get lost inside a department store, ladies' lingerie department. And it's just, I'll say no more than that. It's really funny, and it ends up like as a parody of Vietnam war movies. It's so funny, honestly. Just watch it. Yes, and there's another quote from the show. These mean nothing to anybody, but if you've seen the show, that would be an ecumenical matter. Is just is a really funny line in context. Michael Purcell is saying, see, Foo Fighters have cancelled the show. Is it because of his indiscretion? Still getting a bollocking from his wife. Do you know what? File all of that kind of stuff, the sort of stuff that, would usually not be in the pages of, the rock press or the music press. It would usually be in the pages of Hello magazine or something. All of that kind of, oh, well, he's cheated on his wife, and then he's going out with her, and then he's fallen out with him, and yeah. All this kind of celebrity gossip. I couldn't give a monkey's toss about it, frankly. The guy has a private life. Like every single one of us, he is a human being with human flaws. I mean, just give the guy some space. It's just, I don't care about his private. I like his music, right? That's it. That's as far as it goes. And I think just one of the things that is wrong with the world today is everybody, usually because we all carry a bloody global broadcasting machine around in our pockets and think that the entire world is interested in seeing a photograph of what we're having for dinner. I just think we've broken down those barriers between the public and the private, and I'm not interested in what the chap gets up to in his in his personal life and what flaws that that exposes about him. he's a singer-songwriter, and I'm interested in his music. That's the end of it. Let's have a look. Loads of, every time I mention Father Ted on the stream, there's always a ton of quotes from the from the show. The Chinese, great bunch of lads. The biggest lingerie store, I believe. And Blue Sofa Song seems to agree with what I was saying there about celebrity gossip. Dr. Gomez 1 is asking what we're having for dinner. Curry, but not the homemade one tonight. We've decided to push the boat out, and we are having a delivery from Bengal Spice, which a select bunch of chaps in the chat there have experienced Bengal Spice on the Red Carmageddon outings, which, in case anybody's wondering about that, Red Carmageddon, the sort of get-together for a night on the beer and a curry in Redcar, it will happen again if there is enough support for it. It's just, I just don't want to push it and kind of say, hey, everybody, spend money on travelling to where I live and coming for a beer with me. You know, if if enough people fancy doing it, we'll make it happen again. But this is the, the state of play, really. Those who are enthusiastic are massively enthusiastic, but the numbers are very low. Anyway. Oh, it's not going to last. Chip Young, what are you saying there, Mott the Hootle? If you stood 20 yards behind me, Father Ted would say to Father Dougal, this one is small, this one's far away. Yes, again, all the Father Ted stuff. Chip Young got a HBT 40 last week. Can't believe the quality. The top is more transparent than I've seen on YouTube, and it's beautiful. Plays great too. Plan is to put Harley Benton size P90 in the neck. That's like the black Telecaster one, isn't it? With the twin humbuckers. I had one of those, but I found the problem with it was that the bridge pickup was too far away from the bridge and never really sounded like a bridge pickup. I ended up wanting to love it, but never quite made it. So let's have a look. What else have we got? Just to in the dying moments of the game. Tom Clark is saying onion barges. Peter Nicholson, you need a curry to keep you warm in Redcar this time of year. You do. It's been decidedly brisk today. Took the dog out this afternoon, and even he was pulling to come home. Before we'd even. There's a big sort of old 9-hole golf course just out the back of us. It's a big old field, basically, where I take him for a walk, and we hadn't even got halfway around it, and he was kind of pulling to go home. So there you go. Anyway, chaps, we'll start winding up there, I think, because that's the end of me beer. Yeah, thank you once again for turning up and watching a fat, bald northern lad talk absolute bollocks for an hour. It's been a blast, and I'll keep on doing it till you're sick of me. But for now, once again, time, gentlemen, please.